At a certain period in Earth's history, particularly in the era before the Great Flood, did a technologically advanced world exist here, far beyond what we imagine today? Is the legend of 8 kings who descended from the heavens and ruled the earth for thousands of years actually true? According to an ancient and mysterious manuscript discovered in Mesopotamia, known as the Sumerian King List, in the distant past, our planet was ruled for more than 241,000 years by 8 extraordinary kings, figures whose nature remains difficult for modern humans to fully comprehend. The text states that these rulers descended from the heavens. After kingship descended from heaven, it was in Eridu. In Eridu, Alalim became king. He ruled for 28,800 years. Alulgar ruled for 36,000 years. 8 kings ruled 5 cities for a total of 241,200 years. Then the flood swept over them. These words present us with one of the greatest mysteries of the ancient world. How could 8 kings rule for such immense spans of time? Were they ordinary humans, or were they a form of beings that existed beyond the limits of human understanding? Modern archaeologists and historians suggest that while certain parts of the Sumerian King List are historically accurate, the extremely long lifespans and exaggerated elements cannot be accepted as literal truth. According to them, this document is a blend of mythology and history. Yet this leads us to a deeper question. Is this list entirely mythical, or does it preserve fragments of an ancient truth? To understand this, we must approach it from 2 perspectives. One is scientific and archaeological analysis. The other is cultural memory and symbolic interpretation. From a scientific standpoint, some of the kings mentioned in the Sumerian King List, especially those who ruled after the Great Flood, have been identified as real historical figures. For example, Gilgamesh is widely believed not to be purely mythical, but rather a legendary figure based on an actual king. This suggests that the list is not entirely fictional. It contains at least some elements of historical reality. However, the question then becomes, how should we interpret the enormous time spans attributed to these rulers? Reigns of 28,800 or 36,000 years cannot realistically correspond to human lifespans. For this reason, many scholars propose that these numbers are symbolic. The Sumerians used a base 60 numerical system, in which units such as 3,600, known as a sar, represented large cyclical measures of time. Thus, these vast durations may symbolize power, divinity, or the elevated status of these kings, rather than literal years. Even so, another question emerges. Is the phrase, "kingship descended from heaven," merely a religious expression? Or could it be a distant memory of something more tangible? What we now call space may have been perceived by ancient people as heaven. If so, could the idea of rulers descending from the heavens be an early interpretation of contact with advanced extraterrestrial beings? While there is no direct evidence to support this theory, similar patterns appear across many ancient cultures. Civilizations such as those of India, the Maya, the Greeks, and the Norse all describe their gods as beings who came from the sky. Does this reflect a shared memory of real events? Or is it simply a recurring construct of the human imagination? This remains an open question. The story of the Great Flood presents a similar mystery. Many cultures around the world contain flood myths describing a catastrophic deluge. This could represent a memory of a large regional disaster that was later transformed into a global narrative. However, alternative theories suggest that such a flood may have been a form of reset for the Earth, an event that wiped out a previously advanced civilization. Taking all these factors into account, the most balanced interpretation may be this. The Sumerian King List is a document that is part historical, part symbolic, and part mythological. It is not purely fictional, but rather a complex record that reflects the ancient understanding of the world, blending political motives, religious beliefs, and cultural memory. Theories about extraterrestrial involvement attempt to offer a new perspective on this text. While they cannot be completely dismissed, they remain speculative and lack scientific evidence. Yet they leave us with a compelling question. Could it be that what ancient humans described as gods is what we today might interpret as technology beyond our understanding?